All right, welcome back to Bad Batch Bourbon Bros, where we'll be doing everything from pouring bourbon, sharing stories, and shaping sounds. I'm David.
I'm Vinny.
And we're going to get you started. Today, what are we doing today? Which bourbon are we trying out today for our first bourbon?
Today, the bourbon we are trying is Weller, the original wheated bourbon, special reserve. It is 45%, 90 proof.
All right.
Have you had this one yet yourself?
I believe I have had a taste of the Weller. Weller is picking up like a lot recently. It hasn't did the leap of Blanton's, but
Yeah.
it's pretty jumping up there. Like people are looking for Wellers right now.
Yeah, and it's one of those, what's the term when they, it's not allotments, but where they,
Oh yeah,
how they range the pricing of it and how rare it is and all that.
yeah.
This one doesn't have a cork. That's unfortunate.
Oh, the twist.
We're shaping sounds here.
Yeah, shaping sounds before opening bourbon now. All right, get us a nice pour. Oh yeah. Thank you, my brother.
Yes, sir.
Automatically got to smell it.
Wellers.
Now, have you had this yet?
I have not. I am new to the Wellers game. I've had some, but not this specific kind of, because I know there's a whole bunch of different kinds.
Yeah, they got quite a few of them. So they have this is the special reserve. Then they have like a red label.
Yeah,
they have
there's
a
blue
label. I'm not quite sure what the differences are. So I noticed a lot of the bourbons are going into the cask, right? The barrel that they're putting it in. Some of them are finishing them up in cherry whiskey cask, or not whiskey, wine cask.
Yeah, and different fruits, and that one's just straight, right?
This one is just a regular old
wheated bourbon.
So I'm pretty sure sooner or later, guys, your bourbon snobs are gonna stop putting wine in my bourbon.
Yeah.
Stop making my bourbon cherry flavored. But, okay, so the nose on it is pretty mellow.
It is.
Like a smoother smell. It doesn't hit you like alcohol. You can tell that it's whiskey.
Right. Those little footsteps you're hearing is the mascot Alfredo.
Yeah.
Partially represented by him. And I'll put up a picture of him at some point.
He put second double duty as security, too, so he's checking the grounds, making sure everything's up and up.
All right, shall we?
Yes, we shall. I like it. It heats up near the end.
Mm-hmm.
But like just going in.
That burn there, the heat, whatever you want to call
it.
Yeah,
it doesn't give you an attack, right? It's more or less a smoother whiskey.
Smooth burn.
Mm-hmm.
That was good.
But the flavor on it is nice.
Very good, yeah.
It's real good flavor on it.
Mm-hmm. Nothing like notable about it, but just fine.
I like it. It's smooth.
Yeah, it's good. I like it.
And it's over when you finish with it. You had a little bit of the burn when it went down, but it's not sticking with you. It's not one of those bourbons that's sort of like you hit and then it's like, okay.
Yeah, you're still trying to catch your breath a few minutes afterwards.
I need to take a few seconds before I have another sip. That one, it hits you, it comes in flavorful, and then it's gone.
Yeah, that's a classy bourbon.
Yeah. Something. Now, would you put ice? Are you an ice fan?
I am an ice fan.
I have the rock ice.
Yeah, the rock ice, the big nice one, so it dilutes slowly.
Yeah, and it chills it a lot better.
Yeah.
Right. You know what? I was reading the bottle and it says something about caramel. It's got hints of caramel, and I think I can pick that up. Yeah, I think that's that sweet smooth in it when it goes in.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right. I like chili for whatever reason with this. I don't know why chili is sticking out in my head. Maybe it's that caramel.
Sure.
But that chili, like a nice bowl of chili and a couple fingers of bourbon.
I like that.
Of Weller. You put that in your glass.
Do you make chili?
I do. I've had 24 years of chili.
You're right. Yeah. I make we do our like winter camping trip, and I make every year we all pick a meal to make, and I make chili. I make it on like one of those Dutch ovens over the fire.
Oh,
so
that's
we should do
pretty
you and I
good.
should do a chili cook-off as well.
That would be nice. Yeah, that would be cool. I think of this as more or less like the female whiskey. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not as strong. It won't hit you real hard.
Bottle's got a good shape to it.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Only thing I don't like is it's not a cork. I need that to be a cork.
Yeah, the cork is a must.
Yeah.
That's going to bring it down a little bit. I do like the idea that you could pop it off with your teeth and spit it out.
Yeah, that's after a rough day. that sort of reminds me of an old Western bottle too, that they would leave on the bar.
Triple X on it.
Yeah, you just pour it in there. Next thing you know, you're drinking up a good bottle of bourbon.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, Vinny, what do you look for when you tasted bourbon?
I like it to have like a full flavor. There's some local whiskeys that haven't been able to age enough that they just taste like an unidentifiable bourbon or whiskey in general, and it tastes like bourbon, but you can't you can't decipher that between the next. I like when something kind of is surprising to me or has more of like a distinct flavor.
I agree with you there. I know what a lot of times when you tasting bourbons and people getting real, let's say, creative with them, they leave more of that alcohol burn, right? To where you don't want it in your mouth anymore. Your tongue starts to tingle.
Yep.
And it has no flavor to it. It's just whatever you're going to get off of that mash and how you make bourbon anyway. Yeah. I like a flavor too. And I like a smoother bourbon, right? I don't need to have heartburn after I've taken a cup.
Higher proofs are better with cocktails too, because then you can still decipher that bourbon out of the cocktail. They have their purpose.
Now, do you have a few mixed bourbon drinks that you go to? I know the old fashioned is like everybody's go to.
Yeah, I like that. I like a Manhattan. I think that's with rye. Okay. I like a Manhattan. And if I like in the summer, I like a whiskey sour. It's like that and lemon.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you?
I'm more of a straight bourbon.
Yeah.
I don't really like to mix them. An old fashioned, I can take an old fashioned maybe once out of the night, but 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna switch right back in and give me a piece of ice, swirl it around, put a little chill on it, and then cut through it.
Yeah.
Depending on which bourbon you had.
I like the big cube ice because it dilutes it a little bit, and I like the theory with the whole when you get a little water in there, it tastes or it opens it up. I like that, and with some that are higher proof, it can cut some of that burn for me.
Yeah, I like and then when you let it sit there for a minute, and then you come back to it, it just goes down a lot smoother. Yeah, that's what I prefer.
What's the right way to drink a bourbon? Ice, no ice, drop of water. And you know the answer?
What's that?
Whatever way you take it. So don't talk to me about how I'm drinking my bourbon.
Valid point. Get it in there. So I seen this thing. I don't know how real it is. I said I was going to try it. Have you ever seen those frothers? Those like a little...
Yes, you sent me a video of this.
Yeah, because for a second I was like, well, he looked like he just messed that up.
Right, yeah.
It turned
like
it real...
coffee foam.
Yeah, it turned it real foamy, but it went right back to...
Quickly, too. It kind of surprised me how quick it did, yeah.
It was like all those bubbles just left as soon as he finished. And I would really like to taste how that went down.
Yeah, I'll get that at some point.
Because it made sense about letting air. So if you guys don't know, you're supposed to let air into a freshly opened bottle of bourbon, much like wine, right? You're supposed to open that cork, let the air hit it, let it sit for a while, and then you pour it, get a little air in it. So we'd seen this new thing, of course, on social media where a guy had a little frother and he put it in his glass and it frothed up real good. It almost looked like a root beer at one point.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, and then he took the frother out and it went right back and settled into bourbon and he tasted it and he said it was pretty good. So by theory, it sounds like it would enhance the flavor of any bourbon.
Yeah.
But I also was wondering, like, did you just water it down? Because for whatever reason, when he did that, I thought of shaking up a soda. I mean, I haven't tried that version of bourbon.
Yeah.
But when I seen it,
Yeah,
I was thinking like, oh, you just made it sort of like weakened it. He said it turned out real good. But he said that the theory is real good. So not that I'm a scientist, we have to look into the true meaning of a frother and see what's going on.
I'm good with your definition.
It's not gonna turn into Bill Nye the Science Guy podcast.
Did you ever watch that?
Every morning. Not every morning. What did he come on? Every Saturday morning or something?
I only remember seeing it when I was in school, when like the teacher was probably had a rough night or something, and we could watch Bill Nye. But those were the best days, or when the sub teacher would come in.
Oh yeah,
but Bill Nye. I love Bill Nye.
Yeah, Bill Nye always made it interesting. Mm-hmm. He would give you some science projects or show you how to do some cool stuff, and it was almost like a magic show.
Set the house on fire.
Yeah. Watching a magic show with science, because he would like do something real cool, and next thing you know, it was all he would explain on why he did it just with science.
Yeah.
So that was cool. So what are we talking? What are we thinking here with the Weller?
Yeah, with the rating scale. So we're doing a 0 to 10 or 1 to 10. 0 is a bad batch.
Yeah.
I got to knock 1 down for the cork.
Definitely.
Or lack of cork.
Yeah. I don't want my bourbon coming out of a twist off.
Yeah, I feel like I'm drinking Boone's Farm. One buddy would get Boone's Farm, when he'd go to an event or a party, whatever.
He'd bring Boone's
Farm. And so we'd make fun of him about how Boone's Farm is just like you're drinking Skittles, like watered down Skittles, like how sugary it is.
It is.
It's like, Boone's Farm, I got a wicked tummy ache. You just get a stomach ache. When I see a twist off bottle, it brings me back.
You automatically go back to the Boone's Farm days. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why they do that.
I will the bottle it's a good looking bottle. All right. I like the idea that all the Wellers are like all the bottles look the same. Like they have you know that it's a Weller. Mm-hmm. That's very cool.
They're identifiable. I started at a 7. The flavor gave me a 7.
Just a run of the mill. Okay, I got you.
Just a run of the mill flavor. It was a 7. Then it started losing points for like the top.
Okay.
Right. So it finishes too fast for me. You know what I'm saying?
Like it to last longer.
Yeah, I like the taste or the flavor to last because of that. Like I don't know why. For me, I sip bourbon to enjoy the flavors. Mm-hmm. If it's all gone in like 2 seconds, 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna pour me another one, and then it turns into me just drinking as opposed to enjoying. Mm-hmm. Right, so the flavor leaves a little too soon for me.
Okay,
so it loses another point for that. So it started off at a 7. It's down to a 5, just because of the top and how fast it leaves you. Like it leaves you nothing. The flavor is gone within. Yeah, the memory of it is gone in maybe 30 seconds. I don't really like that too much. I like to, and as of right now, to be honest, the batch that we got from our tour, that distillery, the Vargas,
that's a 10.
Best one.
Yeah,
it's a 10.
Yeah,
and that one stays with you for a good 5-6 minutes.
Yeah. Okay.
For me, if I poured me that same amount, I would have sipped it. I wouldn't need another sip for a good 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And now that one's it's harder. It's harder.
Yeah, but I like that because you're spending that time like appreciating what you like, the experience of it. I like that. That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
All right, so I agree. It's going to start at a 7.
Mm-hmm.
The color, I also forgot to mention the color.
Yeah.
It's good. It's not anything like super dark or super memorable, but it's not just a bland color. So the caramel color goes in.
Okay.
And I'll bring it down. I'll give it a 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. 5 to 6 is a good one.
Yeah.
I don't know. Am I being too harsh taking a whole point for the top?
No, that was my first point off. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that might be their thing, and that's fine.
Right.
This is my scale, buddy.
Yeah. Weller. You've just been Bad Batch Bourbon Bros. And you...
Oh, I have a gavel. Should I get the gavel out?
Oh, you should. Yes. That gavel should have been here a long time ago. Oh, I love it.
That was a good place to gavel.
You have just been Bad Batch Bourbon Broed. But yeah, so I'm giving 5 McLarens. Is it Glen?
Glencairns.
Glencairn.
All right, I'm giving 6 Glencairns.
Okay. You've just been Bad Batch Bourbon Broed, Weller. All right, welcome back to Bad Batch Bourbon Bros, man. Let's get into it. So, I was thinking, right, Vinny? Mm-hmm. You and I are in both professional settings, just always trying to give you extra training throughout your career, right?
Yes.
They'll call you and be like, hey, we got a training for something that you've been doing for 20 years. For me, I'm a firefighter. It's like, okay, we have a training on how to get the hose off of the fire engine. It's like, yeah, I pretty much got that beat.
I've been there. I've been here before.
Right. And I'm sure they repeat that type of thing in nursing, right? Like, okay, this is how you take blood.
Yeah.
So, like, training has always come about. Now, the consistency, other than an unneeded training, are the personalities that you get throughout every class. I don't care if you're in a training for firefighting, nursing, mechanics class, whatever course you're doing, it's like 3 to 4 personalities that you run across.
Humanity just kind of repeats itself in different forms and different ways.
Exactly. So what are those personalities that you've come across? We have referenced each other.
Yeah, the person that would have to like confirm that they already had prior knowledge to what the teacher was talking about. So say if it was nursing, so say they were a nursing aide, this particular type of personality felt the need to, and to have like a conversation with the teacher while the teacher's speaking. When they're just trying to give you the information. They don't need that. They don't care that you do what you do. They don't care that you know. And more importantly, David, I don't care what you know previously, because
we have to name that person. That person is the been there. The been there person. I've had one recently. Recently, I was in another assignment, and in the area that I was working in, they had flipped around assignments, right? So they wanted to make sure that everybody had this understanding of this training. So maybe the last time you did this operation, you probably were a supervisor, or you probably were the assistant supervisor. Well, now they reversed it and put a different person in that position so that they can learn it. They basically want everybody to learn all the jobs so that we can be an efficient situation. The I've been there person in my group started every sentence off with what he had or what he knew, right? Well, on let's just say on the circuit level, when we do this, we do A, B, and C, and he would start it off and tell you, and it was to the point of where it was like, okay, we got it. You used to do this on the circuit level. We're not in that circuit level right now. We're going to do it on this level now. And the person that was like doing it, you could tell he was getting frustrated, but he was trying to be nice to the guy.
Diplomatic.
Yeah, that's the word, diplomatic.
And it's like cool, like when they do, like tell you like the first time, you're like, oh, like cool, that's a nice, interesting input. But then when you realize that after like 2 or 3 times of them doing that, that's just they're going to do that for the whole time. And now what you're thinking about is when you're going to be able to get out of that class, and how many minutes is this person adding to your day? You can see I'm very passionate about this.
You're adding where it's not needed to be added to. Yeah. I've been there person is the irritatingness. That's a word that we'll be having a training on that later. The most irritating part about that person is if the class is more than one day. If the class lasts longer than one day,
On the first day, you realize the week that you had, yeah, or whatever, 6 months or 2 years, whatever
and that
class
guy
you're.
is just there.
Oh,
And he's going at it. He's going at it. He's gonna teach you. He's gonna teach the teacher.
yeah. That's
Any
a different.
project.
That's another level of that personality. Oh man.
Then there's the teacher's pet, of course.
Yeah, the teacher's pet. As an adult, you're just trying to make whatever input you can to the conversation to make. I don't know.
The
I may have a
teacher's-
very dark and skewed version of learning and education, but
You spend a lot of time in education. You've been around a lot more. In my profession, they pretty much pull you out of the class and be like, all right, you're close enough to dumb enough to do this. Let's do it.
once you get 75% of the curriculum, you can kind of do the job because a lot of jobs are on the job training. Like
Yes.
nursing school was like I needed to like memorize a lot of the figures and a lot of things, but how I do my job day to day was an on the job training.
I can agree to that completely. The funniest thing that I ever learned when I first got out of the fire academy, my boss came up to me and was like, forget everything you learned in the academy. And I was like, then I know nothing. There's
Yeah.
I was leaning on that stuff when they put me in this firehouse. But he was like, nah, forget everything you learned. Did you fight a real fire at the academy?
Right.
No? All right. Well, then you learned nothing. I was like, but I learned, they call it, I learned how to pencil the ceiling, sir.
I learned how hot a fire burns.
yeah, you got the math now.
Yeah.
Right, but you don't need it. You were not doing a math problem on how hot the fire is while you were in there.
Yeah.
Right. So that was an awakening for me. Every job does it differently. Right. So you can walk into a job and be like, oh yeah, I'm an accountant.
Right.
They're like, oh, okay. Well, do you know how to do our spreadsheet? Do you know how to file our paperwork? Do you know how to charge our clients?
Yeah.
So it's nothing.
Yeah,
that
that's
you can keep.
the frustrating part with like having to have like experience. But I get it now. Like I understand. Like I don't want somebody fresh out of school that doesn't understand the real world application of this job.
That's true. That's true. Let's put it together. It's like, okay, well, yeah, you know why the heart beats, but
Yeah, right.
we need.
But
you
can
to
you
be
identify this person is in front of you is saying, "Oh, I'm having chest pain," or are they just hungry?
Right? Do they need to get out of the cold? Because if you come to me on my first day, I'm giving you everything.
Yeah, I'm giving you 2 sandwiches.
That's what That's what they should start doing. Putting sandwiches on the EMS rig.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, like-
we become just a sub truck.
Yeah. once we establish that your heart rate is not out of control and
Yeah, you have no symptoms of
Yeah.
the disease that you're presenting.
right. What do you want? A sandwich? I got peanut butter and I got ham. Which one do you want? What ham? All right, buddy. It's cool.
Yeah, sorry, there's a bite taken out of it already. There you go.
Oh, every question you get wrong, I take a bite out of this sandwich. Is your chest hurting? Yes. No, it's not.
The EMT lie detector test.
The EMT lie detector. By the time you get to the hospital, I might be a fat pig getting out off of a shift, but all right, this guy,
Yeah.
tell him what's wrong. I'm hungry. Lieutenant David ate my sandwich. It's gone now. But what did we learn? We don't lie to EMTs,
We do
right?
not lie to EMTs.
Lieutenant David, EMT firefighter Howard.
Yeah. Human lie detector.
There we go. Make me a nice sandwich. Now
You
can
make
get
it in
this.
front of them.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Oh, yeah.
diabolical.
Turn the heat up. I take a bite out and turn the heat down every time you lie. Actually, we just solved all of the issues.
All of society's homelessness
There we
issues.
go. I don't want this guy. You got to take a quiz before we get to the hospital.
Yeah. Oh, the gamble.
But yeah, so that's always been a mystery to me. The other guy, which I think is still the been there dude, is he tries to let the instructor know that he knows a lot.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
And he's given unnecessary experiences. Mm-hmm. It's like, I don't care, my man.
Yeah.
Just let this person. We have a thing, like, you cannot ask questions in training. Like, among the other guys in the training.
See, that gets dicey because some people are actually legitimately trying to learn. That's tough. And then you
don't do that here.
Then you scare the honest ones out.
The problem is it's all a matter of when I can get out.
Yeah, oh yeah.
If this class is set up for 8 to 5, and the instructor says, "Hey, the faster we go, we might be able to push it to lunch and then get out at 1."
Yeah,
nobody
is side-eyeing people when they put a hand up.
You will not get that. You got the book, Dark.
Read the book. You get audible sighs when you hear, if not the first question, the second question. Ooh,
oh man!
And then you hear the, oh God,
this guy. Really don't know how to take a sugar, sir.
yeah.
The instructions on the back of the glucometer. Get out of here, my man.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
The QR code for the company data.
If I wind up being in here till 1:30 because you don't know how to draw blood,
yeah.
But you're supposed to be here till 5.
But yeah, he gave us the option that we're getting out of here early. If we
that's written in stone. That's better than the contract. If the instructor comes in there and tell you, okay, well, listen, we might be able to get out at 1. We getting out at 1, or I'm not coming back.
Right? Yeah, lunchtime is done time.
Yeah, we got it. It's so funny if you go to the RTC, the Regional Training Center for our department, maybe around 1:30, it's like ghost town. It's like, where's all the learning going on? It's like every instructor came in there and was like, oh, okay. They pay more attention if I tell them we could get out early.
Yeah, they're just hyper-focused on it.
Just a bunch of cars peeling out. That's got to be cool, though, because like if you're an instructor, you're getting paid.
They're like, oh, my students left. I got my money.
Got nobody here, except for that one teacher's pet that come back after lunch, and now
that's when the teacher's pet comes into play as an adult.
Exactly,
is the guy that just like is like, oh, come on, guys, we gotta get back to the class.
That's the perfect voice. I don't know if he sounds like that, but he does now.
Yeah.
He's no longer a regular person.
Yeah. So in nursing school, when we were talking about diseases and different things, instead of the I've been there, the I've had that.
Oh.
Or I know someone who's had that. There's some horror stories that I found out about these females, ladies that were in nursing school about what happened to them.
It took you that long to classify them as ladies.
I was trying to be respectful, but I'm not. This woman who was telling the class about what the difficulties that happened during her natural childbirth and what things.
Bruh.
Yeah, exactly. The face. Oh. Yeah, exactly. I don't need to know that about you.
Oh, these were personal stories.
This happened
her
when the teacher was like, "Oh, this could," on the slideshow. There's pictures and all these.
Right.
She's, "Oh, this can happen. This can happen." Oh! I got something. I had that happen to me. I don't need to know that. I have to be in school with you for the next 2 years.
Right. So now I look at you and like understand that this is Yeah. Don't share too much.
No. And then when you continue, and then it wasn't you, it was your mom or your dad, your brother. What does that add to the environment when I know that one of you or your family members had a certain disease? What does that do for me?
Nothing. And are you okay? Do you need?
It's still.
Do you need a sip?
Yeah. Good call.
Oh man, yeah, those personal stories can get irritating when they have nothing to do with what you're trying to accomplish, and it just makes and you know what's funny is the instructor is always left on the island after the story is over.
Yeah. How do you bring it back around?
You're like, okay, so
yeah. Or you get the bad instructor who dives into it.
Oh man, You know what? I've never had. I take that back. I have had that guy, and he was a one-upper.
Oh,
which is a whole nother person.
Yeah.
I had an instructor that was a one-upper. This instructor. So, if you're in a classroom full of firemen, right? there's always going to be a story time. I don't care what's going on. There's a story time, right? Now, some guys can do it in a good way. Some guys are sort of like the I've been there dude. The other one is share too much person. And then there's just a valid time to share a story. But the one-upper is it's like funny, and depending on how long the class is, that's when that one-upper it just turns into the lunchroom joke at that time, right? Like if it's a couple of month class,
everybody after the first one, everybody looks over at that person to find out what they got next.
Exactly. The teacher gives a story or a situation. Okay, well, listen, guys, when you're using the positive pressure fan, right, you can actually make your way into the house without putting out any fire if you use the fan properly. A little backstory. If you don't work for Detroit Fire Department, none of your stories matter.
Okay.
Detroit firemen have got to be the most haughty people that you'll ever come across when it comes to firefighting, right? And that's what across the country. Chicago, New York,
Boston,
California, anywhere.
Well, maybe not right now.
Is it out? Detroit would have put that out with a couple of red lines.
Yeah, spit on it.
Yeah. They thinking about sending us over to Southwest to melt that stuff for them. But anyway. So the guy tells his story, right? And he says, we got this fire. It was going in the back of the house. It was going pretty good. We set up the positive pressure fan, blew it all out the back window. We were able to stretch right down the hallway, put the fire out. Now, everybody in the room understood that this probably was just a mattress fire.
Hot dog fire? Call back.
Yeah.
I love the idea of the hot dog fire.
Yeah. So, anyway, he puts this fire out. That's his story. But he's giving us training on the positive pressure fan.
Okay.
The one-upper, once the crowd has settled and the instructor is probably going through his next pinpoint, here's the one-upper.
The break in the silence.
Yeah, here he comes. Everybody in the room doesn't respect it because he's not from Detroit Fire.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
So it's like, whatever. It's probably a back bedroom. That's not going to work for Detroit. The one-upper throws his hands up. The guy, he don't know that this is the one-upper yet. This is the first day of class. Yeah. So now everybody on the department knows. First guy, the one-upper, looks over and was like, oh, yeah, so-and-so. He starts.
Well, I was in that situation myself, sir. It was a dark night. We were all sleeping and a bell went off. We got up and we knew it was a huge fire. As soon as we pulled out of the firehouse, you could see the smoke and you could smell it in the air. It was real close. We knew no help was coming. I grabbed the fan once we pulled up. It was going out of the back bedroom, the side bedroom, the upstairs, the basement, and I believe the garage was on fire too. I put the fan right in the front window and it blew it all out, but everybody else was too scared to go in. I grabbed the line and I walked the fire down, but I couldn't have done it without that fan. It was a great tool.
Now everybody in the room is like, what are you talking about, dude? That's never happened. Everybody in here has worked with you like every day of your firefighting career. The guy only had maybe like 5 years on at the time. And he shared this like immaculate super story where the fan was like the tool that got him to be the superhero.
Yeah.
But the story, I didn't share the whole story because it would have took way too long. But the way he told the story is he was a hero, but
he was the one that wasn't
look
too
modest.
Scared.
Right. But to look modest, It was the fan.
It was the fan that saved him.
That did all of the work.
Humble bragged.
Yeah.
To get it. He was the one that went into the house.
That's what that's called, a humble brag. Yes. The one-upper and a humble bragger.
Very
closely. Are they close?
They're closely knit.
Or is the one-upper like, I'm not humble bragging, I'm straight up bragging?
Yeah, I feel like the humble brag, there's two forms. I feel like the humble brag is more annoying. The regular bragger is like you just kind of shut him off immediately. But the humble bragger is like, oh, that's why you wanted to encapsulate this world in front of us for the last 15 minutes.
You know what? You're right. Yeah.
That's diabolical.
The humble bragger is more diabolical. That guy gotta go.
Get him out of here.
The humble bragger. Yeah. So this guy was a mix because he had a one-upper story, but he would always change it around to where it's just a humble brag.
Yeah.
Right? Like, man, I'm trying to think of some of the stories that you could you could tell. They're his lies, basically. But now then there's the instigator.
Okay.
The other guy that's in every class is the instigator.
The devil's advocate, if you will.
The devil's advocate, the instigator, the pumper-upper. This dude just likes drama. He will feed on anybody. So if it's the humble bragger, he would be like, didn't you do something like that? Or maybe the one-upper. If it's the one-upper, he'll feed him his moment to tell
Remind them of the things the stories that they told last class.
Right.
So a funny thing with that is if it gets to the point where it's like a few days in, or if I'm past the point that I'm done concentrating because the class has gone bananas, I will become from obstinance. I will become that person of egging them on. Okay. Because then it's funny to me because if I'm not going to learn anything, I might as well enjoy myself and be entertained. And so I'm going to egg them on every single time. Because if the last 2 days ended with me not understanding me having to piece together what I got out of that class or whatever it is, I'm going to just have fun with the last day.
You should. Mm-hmm. That's your day. That is your day.
That's my day.
You pretty much learned everything you can learn by the end of the class.
Exactly.
Anyway. It's just it's sort of like a requisite that they have to fill time now.
Yes.
So that last day is your day.
Yes.
Now, I'm more of a class clown. We'll get to that guy in a minute. Yeah. But the instigator is hilarious to me because the instigator always have one person that knows he's instigating. So he'll look at that guy right before he start instigating and just be like, watch this. Mm-hmm. Hey, one-upper, remember that one time that you had to save that kid? Oh, yeah, you talking, and then it goes. Or if he sees like the I've been there person. Oh, man, I don't think nobody would ever have that happen to him when they gave a birth. Knowing it's a person that I've been there person to jump in. And he's sort of like the next best thing other than a class clown. Because a class clown to me can break up the monotony of that.
Yeah.
Long as he's not too much like in the way of the class.
Yeah. There's the two versions of that. With adults, it isn't as bad. Like people understand, especially if you're paying for the class, you're not going to be a super nightmare. But there are some people that are they lack self-awareness or or doing that. But I will enjoy if we are forced to have all of these characters in this class. The class clown is, I'll take him.
He's the lead. If he's a good one.
If he's a good one, that's true.
If he's a good one. Don't crack a horrible joke and then just be like, and make me laugh. Like now you asking for me to laugh. You know what I mean? No, I don't.
No, I do not.
I do not, Mr. Class Clown.
Yeah.
You have failed your position. We are looking to replace you with someone else now. But yeah, so that is the training in a nutshell. You just have those 4 people in a class. And hopefully, like you said, you don't get all 4 in one class. If you get all 4 in one class, you just might as well cancel that one and sign up for a different class.
Yeah. Classroom bingo, and none of the dots make sense.
Yeah, there you go. Did you ever play SOS when you were a kid? It's like 4. You made a bunch of dots on a piece of paper, and you had to connect.
Oh, the squares. Yeah,
make a box.
Okay. Yeah.
You had to make a box. Did you play that alone, or did you play it? It was almost like tic-tac. Right,
yeah.
Right. Okay, it was like tic-tac-toe. And you would try to make a box.
Yeah, and like the person to make more or something like that.
Yeah, that just lets us know how far we've come for entertainment. I did see a video, and they like gave you the code for a Rubik's Cube. Now I can't find a Rubik's Cube.
It's the world's cruelest joke.
I know, right?
It's the universe telling you that you just cheated, and now, and you're. It's not worth it to buy another Rubik's Cube.
I would not go out and purchase a Rubik's Cube. But it was a funny thing when I first started on the job. They were everywhere.
Yeah, okay.
They were in every firehouse. You had like maybe 4 or 5 Rubik's Cubes.
Is that how firemen try to impress girls?
Sad, ain't it? I remember this one guy came. He had company at the firehouse, and he was like, "Hey, in about 10 minutes, come knock on the door and be like, hey, good save on that kid, man." He had no save or anything. He just was trying to impress the girl.
Yeah, I hear loud and clear.
Right. Okay, good. I was like, it's like 11 o'clock at night. You still trying to convince her? She showed up at 10:30, my man. I think you might be overworking this one.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to read the room, brother.
Yeah, right.
All right, so that ends our hot topic for the Bad Batch Bourbon Bros. Stay tuned. We'll be coming back with the sharing sounds. All right. I'm David.
And I'm Vinny.
Hang tight. This is the part of our show where we start shaping sounds, right? Now, there is so much music out there. Music is sort of like the story of lives, if you think about it, right? We're not against anything. However, I am not a metal fan.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. I am not a metal fan, so Vinny is taking me on a journey. Now, what is it about metal that you really appreciate there?
For me, it's the frequency of the sound of the music. It can be with a lot of different genres, but what I like about that style is of actual just the music. Take out the context, take out the lyrics, but just the heaviness, meaning like the low frequencies. It gives off a certain frequency, that vibe that like kind of resonates within my ears, within my head, and then it just makes me feel good.
All right, so that answers my next question. It was, what do you look for when you're listening to one of your songs, to maybe one of the metal songs that you like?
Every music genre has its place for the style of art or the style of listener that likes that kind of music and the style of artist that's producing that music. For me, I like when the music can kind of breathe a little bit, where it's not super fast, but it has like a groove, it has a rhythm, but there's also elements of silence. There's elements of letting the actual frequencies kind of push out and letting it breathe, per se, of like how so you can kind of hear every instrument that's happening, every little piece of work or piece of effort that the artist put into producing that sound, that song, you hear and you can appreciate. And that's with any genre, but I like the sound of those lower frequencies.
Okay. So if you don't know, Vinny is more of the musician between the two. I pluck on a guitar here and there, but Vinny is actually a musician. So what would you say decipher each genre of music? What makes a country song a country song? What makes a heavy metal song a heavy metal song? What makes a rap song? What makes an R&B song? If you ever listen like that, what would you say?
Heavy metal is thought to be just like scary music and like it's all worship of bad stuff and all that. right.
Yes.
It's not David. And that's the problem because it has such a bad rep. Or
That's
bad
true.
rap.
That's true.
But like, there's the song that I gave you,
Very mild.
very mild, and it's about like love. Like that band in particular. There's so many songs about love. Like you don't think about that when it's heavy metal, but like people just express their feelings in a different way. So. That being said,
let me jump in 1 second. So you gave me the song, right? Now, I had already told Vinny about how the guys at the firehouse will play like some heavy stuff. And I was, so when I went in there, this was the only metal song I knew. And I was like, oh, no, I'm down. I'm going to play this in. Nobody respected me for my choice. Everybody knew what song it was, but these guys were like Metallica. It was just too soft for them.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was like, that's not real metal, Lou. And I was like, yes, it is.
See, that's annoying. That's
it's a bunch of snobs.
yeah. I'm not about that.
Are you about to love Vinny when it comes?
Like what you like. I don't care. Like, don't get me wrong. I went through a period where like anybody that listened to Nickelback and Creed would like. But now I
like
love.
those guys.
Like it's just music. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, just move on with your day.
Yeah.
Like I don't care if you
Don't
you
bring
like
hate into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was funny though.
Snobs.
Yes, they are. They are. I think they're mosh pit fans.
Well, I'm sorry that I put you into the lion's den.
Nah, I had listened to it prior to, so I mean,
I gave you on the ratio. I gave you a little bit of a softer one, so it wasn't immediately off-putting.
very true. Very true. He's getting into his grunge right now.
Yeah,
is
Alfredo.
grunge just a genre?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
That was like 90s, like Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains.
Okay.
But it was like grunge was like it's like grunge metal. Like there's like a lot of rock genres and metal genres just kind of float in between each other.
Okay, they blend.
And what's nice now is we were talking about kind of last time is like the genre bending. Like people are just kind of making whatever they want to make and like putting out an album full of 12 songs that are kind of different genres each of them, and people like them.
Yeah, that's very true. So I've always felt music was the soundtrack of life, right? Just social settings.
Yeah.
If you go back through, and I could obviously me and Vinny come from different cultural backgrounds, but like in my cultural background, I could see the change. I actually wrote a paper on this. You can sort of see the changes between cultures depending on what music they were listening to, right? When I was in high school, all the guys wanted to be like playboys, lover boys. But if you listen to the music that was like popular in my culture back then, it was like Babyface. What's that other guy named After 7 or one of those? Are you aware of any of those songs?
I've heard of Babyface.
Yeah, it's like
Tyrese?
Gerald Levert, Tyrese. I love my woman to the end of the earth, and I pay your rent. He was really simping out, but that showed itself in my culture at that time. Right, all the guys was always trying to just sort of take care of the women. The music changed right around high school to NWA. Everybody turned into a thug.
Yeah.
So it was always funny how music could do that, right?
Yeah.
And
It's a movement.
yeah, it's a movement. True enough. And if you look at maybe like what's considered the suburbs now, they listen to a lot of rap. And there's no more generational gaps in music anymore.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's because people are having children younger, but my parents listened to a completely different sound when I was growing up, right? My father was into the blues and Bobby Womack and those guys. Your parents had different music.
Yeah.
Now, if you talk to parents now, they're listening to the same thing their child is listening to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Okay, so what do your parents listen to as far as music go? Is it a big gap?
My mom kind of listens to a lot of this, like a lot of the same stuff. My dad but he went through like phases. So he would do like a techno, then he had like jazz, then he had like smooth jazz, and then like house music.
Okay. All right. Now, I have two 13s and a 14-year-old. I can't understand anything they listening to. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Nephew, that I can't understand half the things he's saying.
That's true too. So, but that whole thing is music is a big part in people's lives to me. You know what I'm saying? It can bring you together. It can separate you.
Yeah.
It can put you all on the same page. It can get that movement going. It's so funny how much power musicians have, which led us to sort of like seeing
each other's side.
Yeah.
We gave each other an assignment.
Exactly.
And I think we can have a recurring theme where we're going to give each other a song each podcast of what we want, just the other to experience whatever song that we like or we're listening to or is in our database of songs, and have the other person analyze it and give what they think of it. I had a detailed list of what I thought of your song.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then you have to go first.
Oh, all right.
All right. So I gave Vinny "Hold Me" by the Teskey Brothers, which is one of my favorite songs, right? Which is coming off real different right now, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure those who know the Teskey Brothers know the Teskey Brothers. But, well, I'm going to turn it over to you. Mm-hmm. When you first, how many times did you listen to the song?
Probably about 4 or 5 times.
Okay.
This, to me, this whole thing is a very fun assignment because I love breaking it down to each thing. So,
but now you got to remember, Vinny is the musician, so mine is not going to be as in depth as he is.
Okay. So I wrote some notes. So I listened each time for like a different thing.
Reason. Okay.
Yeah, exactly, a different reason. So, the Teskey Brothers "Hold Me." So. I enjoyed the song. First off, it was very cool. I liked it. It turned me on to these guys. I never had heard of them before.
No, okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
The first thing that caught me was the how they kept panning to their feet stomping on the ground, and that was the bass drum of the song. I thought that was so cool because it is the sound of a foot stomping. It doesn't sound like a bass drum. It may be, but it's a very. And then what leads into the second thing is it's a very simple song, but some simple songs are the best songs. Like it's just very straightforward.
Garage band almost.
Yeah. And you can but the passion, like his voice, like that was like the draw to it was like the passion of his voice and his.
I should have told you to listen to it without the video first. You watched the music video first?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That would have been cool to just sort of like.
Yeah.
See the transition in your head.
All right. Next time, that'll be what I do.
We have to do that too.
It's very simple, but it's very clean. So the production quality of it's very good. Mm-hmm. There's when there's silence in the song, there's silence. There's not like a fuzz. There's not any weird feedback or anything like that. I like that. It's very focused. It's a very like simple song, but it's great. Then so there's a point I put 1:50 or a minute 55. The piano or like the synth came in and it like kind of evolved into like this other song, grew and then came back into the song. That was very cool. It like brought like an organ in because before it was just vocals and like claps and stomps. Yeah, and then it brings this organ in with like reverb and brings it. It was very cool. So that was a great song. Thank you.
Oh, sweet. Okay, so. Does that end yours?
That ends my review.
So what? How many?
Are we doing ratings for this?
Yeah, we rate it.
All right,
we rate that one. We rate our songs too.
What's the scale?
1 to 10. We just 1 to 10. You can say Cliff Notes.
Yeah. All right. I would give that a clean 5.
A clean 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was great, but would I choose to go to listen to that one? No.
Okay.
But I greatly enjoyed listening.
So you appreciated the music.
The musicality
part
of it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's just not your style of music.
Yeah.
And that's cool. that's good. But I liked that it was a song and a band you never even heard of.
Yeah, that was good.
And they're from Australia. Those guys are from Australia. They're still in Australia. They're not
country.
Here.
The true country. Oh. That's not. It's not.
Well. Okay.
That's not what I mean. Yeah. Like Outback Country.
Okay, we'll get to that next week.
So.
Okay, so mine was Take Me Away.
Take Me Away by
Kill Switch Engage. What's funny about this is I didn't break it down as well as you broke my song.
That's fine.
But what caught me is the way it started off, right? It started too fast for me. Yeah. It didn't give me a chance to find a rhythm.
Verse,
it dropped it down. It dropped it down into something that I could understand at that point. You know what I'm saying? So it was like when it first came in, I was like, so I asked you, what do you listen to? Or when you listening to a song, what do you listen for when you decide whether you're going to like this song?
I got to be better at asking you back these questions. I'm so sorry.
No,
I'm so sorry.
It's fine. So what I listen for is like that bass, the beat. The beat that I can find
catch
and bounce to,
yeah.
right? I like to dance, so I like to find that part of the song that I can actually bounce to, do a move to, do a step to, keep beat with, whatever. The way that song started off, it was doing too much for me. I was
it was panic mode, yeah.
Right, so it threw me off from the very beginning.
All right.
Then it slowed down, and it turned into an actual song that I could relate to, at least. At first I thought, and that's one of the reasons why I don't like some of the fast-paced presentation of the music, right? I don't know if I'm hearing a drum, a guitar, a bass, synthesizer, when I hear heavy metal, right? And, but like I said, then Engage slows down. Then it gets into an actual rhythm of music. And then his vocals come on. That throw me off again. Because of the way it's like, do I like that?
You're like, that sounds like me.
Yeah. So I listened to it before I'd seen anybody in the band, right? So that was, I guess, that's one of the things. I don't want to say I'm prejudiced, but like a lot of times I may see something and put something in my head already.
Yeah, you're like,
you know,
you're going to sound like this.
Right,
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I'm not racist.
No.
Don't confuse the two people. There's a difference between prejudice, racist, and stereotypical. We might have to talk about that one day,
that's
too.
That's a good one, yeah.
But, so I am prejudiced, right? So not
prejudice, I think, is innate. Like, that's...
Yeah, it's just ignorance. You find the perfect country. What is it?
The true country. Australia. The down under.
The down under. Yeah, so then when he started singing, it threw me off again, right? I was like, oh, wait, okay. Then I listened to what he was saying. And that's when I was like, okay, I understand. Yeah, so I'm in the same boat. Will it be something that I would ever listen to again? Maybe not. You know, it took me on a roller coaster, though. I didn't like it. I liked it.
Yeah.
I didn't understand it. Then I understood it. So it was a roller coaster of music. And I don't know. Sometimes I just want to vibe out to my music. That one had me guessing too much. I was like, okay, where am I going with this? So on a scale of 1 to 10, I would give that one a 4. A 4. I would give them a 4. Maybe if they didn't throw me off on the very beginning, if they started out like they turned it into, I might have been a little more receptive.
But I appreciate you being open to it.
Oh yeah, I'm open to all of them. All right. Well, that's another session of sharing sounds with your mans David
and Vinny
on the Bad Batch Bourbon Bros. I'm David.
And I'm Vinny.
And right now we are about to review a very loosely titled bourbon. What is this? A bourbon, a whiskey, a liqueur?
Do not be mistaken.
We are not putting this in
a liqueur.
This is a new bottle.
This is groundbreaking. I can't wait. I cannot wait.
Now, this is my first time tasting this.
It's made in Chicago, and it just is made in. So on the back says, "May we suggest Malort has the aroma and full-bodied flavor of an unusual botanical. Its bitter taste is savored by two-fisted drinkers."
Is that serious? Or is that like the blurb of the year?
Yeah, I told you the poster they had was, what is it? It's time to fight your dad. Jepson's Malort.
That is excellent. So this is my first time tasting Jepson's Malort. Oh, wait. Is there a cork?
No, it's another. I did it
twist.
Before. Yeah.
Oh. A twist is a twist.
The top says since 1933, Chicago has been ruining people's lives since 1933.
Oh, man. The dedication to this podcast is amazing there, Vinny.
But this is the reason why we got the name for this podcast.
Exactly.
It comes full circle.
Oh, man. The Bad Batch. You're frowning up already, brother.
I just remember what happened the night that I had after.
Oh. This is the equivalent of when you taste something pretty bad, you be like, taste this.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And we asked the bartender, we were like, do people actually order this? And it's like, no, it's like Chicagoans that bring their friends from out of town and like, hey, taste this. Would you say that's an unusual botanical?
That is an unusual botanical. Unused.
Discarded.
This is not a botanical that anyone used. Oh. Do I want to do this or?
You don't, but you have to.
Have to take
All right,
on.
this is Jepson's Malort from Chicago, Illinois, USA.
We doing the whole shot?
You can do whatever you want from that. I
Okay.
do, yeah.
Oh. It tastes like luggage. It's getting worse. Have you ever walked into a leather store, like an it's terrible.
It's so bad, and it just that bitterness
It
just
keeps
sits on your,
going. It's like getting kicked in a. You know that initial kick, you're like,
stomach hurts?
know it hurt. You know you got hit there,
and you're
it's coming.
You know, yeah.
And then it gets there and keeps ramping up. That's
still there.
this.
It's right in the back of your tongue.
This reminds me of a Scooby-Doo episode, and there was a green film going through the air. That's how it's going across my tongue.
It's still is just resonating.
It's just
man.
there.
Oh.
It's like turpentine and
you called it
mint.
Like an old piece of luggage.
Yeah.
It's been like sitting in like cigarette smoke for 20 years.
How much was this bottle?
Like $25. So
they owe you $22. Oh, that's pretty bad.
I forgot how bad that was.
Oh, my goodness. If you're watching this podcast, this bottle will be at that same level.
Yeah.
For the next 16 years.
Yeah.
Unless somebody come from Chicago that's not up on that. That is horrible.
Yeah. All right.
Oh.
Best 2 out of 3 rock, paper, scissors. Who gets to drink water first?
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
All right.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. That's you. Oh, I lost twice today. Oh, does it clean off? It don't seem like the water would take it. We might need milk.
It just like lets it resonate. Like it.
It doesn't intensify.
It like just deconcentrates it, so it's still there, but just worse.
Oh, it makes the water taste funny. Mm-hmm. This is like every childhood terrible taste. Cod liver oil.
Soap.
Did a lot of swearing when you was a kid. Play-Doh.
Yeah,
When you grabbed a little piece of Play-Doh because it smelled so edible.
When your brother would prank you with putting lemon juice in your milk bottle.
Dandelion tea. My grandmother was sort of like, not an herbalist, but a natural person.
Okay. Yeah.
And my mom was having some issue or whatever, and my grandmother was like, well, here, drink dandelion tea. This was front yard dandelion. It wasn't like you went to the health food store and bought dandelion tea. So she grabbed some dandelions and boiled them.
No.
And filled up a jug of this. My grandmother made this and gave it to my mom, and it sat in the refrigerator. However, it looked like Mountain Dew, like the color of yellow on it. So my brothers came and was like, "Hey, Dave, you want some pop?" I was like, "Yeah, I love pop." And they was like, "Yeah, it's Mountain Dew," and they poured me, and I went straight to it because
excited.
Yeah, that tasted better than this. But it was a close. This reminded me of like that bitter, earthy luggage.
Unusual botanicals.
Yeah, unusual. It tastes like you walked into a leather store with your mouth open. What's that cowboy store? They got a bunch of leather vests and leather boots and cowboy stuff. And that's how it hit me.
Yeah.
You know what? When my son want to drink, that's the first thing I'm going to give him.
There you go.
We're like, this how I'm going to have to tough it out and be like, this is how alcohol tastes, kid.
Right. Just tell them how bad off you got it. You're like, this is what I have to do to do. You don't want this. You don't want this.
You don't want what I'm doing. You don't know my pain. When I was leaning up against the sink, drinking the alcohol and eating the rest of y'all macaroni and cheese that y'all didn't finish. This is why.
This is the pain. This pain feels less than the pain I feel inside.
I'm dead inside, boy. I love this taste. My taste buds are combating with my dead heart.
Yeah. And I'm losing both ways.
Oh, man. Jepson's Malart. Oh, this is not a liqueur. They cannot call it. A liqueur is supposed to, like, season stuff. Carl Jepson. That guy.
Just some idiot named Carl.
That lets you know
ruining lives, yeah.
Every other alcohol maker uses his initials. It's like J.W. Weller.
Yeah.
B.J. something. Oh, this is K.L. Blanton's.
Yeah.
This guy is Carl.
This guy, Carl. Yeah.
From Chicago.
Yeah. This is from his bathtub in Chicago.
A metal one, too. You don't even have like a porcelain tub. It's just,
it's that brass, that like when you bite on a key.
It's exactly what that is. Oh, man. I have no idea how you can make that good. That's like putting rubbing alcohol in anything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't care if you put that in and mix it with some Boone's Farms.
Yeah.
The Skittles of alcohol couldn't even help that one. They are still in production? How?
It's got to be just a joke. Like, it has to, like, there's no way that anybody can find that enjoyable.
Enough to make it, like, consistently?
Right.
Carl is still making
Carl is working. That's why, I mean, if that's your one claim to fame, you just got to keep pumping it out. If people are buying, it's supply and demand. People are buying.
It has to be. His wife is still waiting to take a bath. Get that Jefferson, get that out of there, Carl. Yeah. What you talking about? This is how we pay our bills.
So, that distillery down the street fell through. I got to use the tub one more week.
That's going to be our first guest, Carl.
Yeah.
This guy, we got to get this guy in a room. How long has this been going on?
It says 1933 on the top.
What?
He might be no longer with us.
They have to make other stuff. 70 proof. 35% alcohol.
You're out drinking Malort, if for whatever reason that may be. Sometimes you just got to leave. You just got to go home.
You just got to get out of there.
Just got to get out of there. You don't want to have to say goodbye, because especially if it's a party of people that you know. You feel like you gotta. If you say goodbye to one of them, you can say goodbye to all of them. So this is the idea of an Irish goodbye.
An Irish goodbye. Yes, an Irish goodbye. Now, if anybody doesn't know what an Irish goodbye is, that's when you leave without saying goodbye. So are you guilty of ever doing the Irish goodbye?
I love an Irish goodbye.
Do you have us covered with the Irish community?
I got you covered.
Okay, all right.
I got my people will talk to their people. Yeah. I think it's all about where you view yourself in the society of the party.
Okay.
I'll find out about Carl later.
Yeah, Carl was...
Carl's dead. If he started in 1933, the man's dead.
He died in 1934. Somebody killed Carl.
Yeah.
That's why they still making it. It's in memory of...
In memory of Carl, yeah.
Carl had like a multi-billion-dollar company. It was like the only way you can inherit this is if you keep making...
Yeah, and it's like art. They only appreciate you once you're dead.
Yeah. So we're back to, it depends on where you are.
If it's a party for you, you have to. You gotta talk to people.
Yeah.
But if you realize that like it's just people are out and doing their thing, unless you establish like, hey, I'm gonna like we'll go home together or we're riding together, whatever the case is.
Reason.
But if I am in my own car and I'm going and I am, just a person that's there, I'm not saying goodbye to all these people. If I'm ready to go, I'm ready to go. I don't want to spend 15 minutes saying goodbye because then you're going to get into a whole nother conversation. You're going to find that one person that's a talker. And you're going to get it stuck. And you wanted to go 20 minutes ago.
And the person that don't want you to go, right?
The person that
they
doesn't
haven't talked to you all party.
Yeah. Sometimes you do that on purpose. Where you're like, you avoided that,
I didn't want to talk to you.
And now, I'm so sorry we didn't get to talk. I got to go.
I hate the one guy that won't let you go.
He holds onto your arm or something.
No, wait, come on, have one more drink. Have one more Jepson Millard.
Yeah.
You are the guy that like Jepson.
Yeah.
You're the one upper.
The physical representation of Jepson Millard.
There you go. And that guy always thinks he's saving the party.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, one more. It's always one more. Yeah.
Every time.
And that will be the pinnacle of the party.
So what you know what? Before I knew the name of it, I'm guilty of them.
Did you have a name for it, or you?
So I didn't have a name for it for a long time. I didn't know you were supposed to say goodbye.
Okay.
By the time the term came out, I was already gone.
Yeah.
I just do an Irish goodbye. I was already in my car. I was gone already. I didn't know what they were saying. Hey, I gotta get out of here. It's a hoarse Irish accent.
I gotta go.
Me gold is getting cold at the end of the rainbow. But he didn't say
there's too many people here. I don't want to say goodbye to all of them.
I gotta say goodbye to everybody.
What do I do?
We just got canceled. I know what I do. I give them all a shot of Jepson's Malheur.
Go up to the bar, order a shot of Jepson's. You're out the back door.
Out.
That's the original Irish goodbye.
Oh, man. So that's funny. So if you threw a party, right? You threw a personal party, you got your friends over and everything. Would you be upset if somebody left?
No.
Without saying goodbye?
No, because I know.
What if it was a real good friend?
So so there's levels to this. If it's a real good friend, the real good friend is going to be like, give you a little nod or a wink or something, or be like, hey, I'm going to dip. And like, that's how for you and I, we're places like, hey, I'm going to go. I'm going to let you know. Because that's respect between you and I.
That's what I was thinking. Like, everybody that does the Irish goodbye has the one person that they tell.
Yeah.
They always like, all right, I'm out. So the pinnacle of Irish goodbyes in my family is my wife. Mm-hmm. Now, my wife is the master of Irish. When I get home, I'm going to tell her there's a title for what you're doing. She don't know it. She just think, I'm ready to go. I go. Mm-hmm. I didn't know I needed to get permission to go home.
From an Irishman.
Maybe that's why it came about. Irish is never carried to ask for permission. But yeah, she would literally get up and go. And I was like, the first time I seen it, I thought she was sick. And I was like, what's
Sick
going
of you.
on? Yeah. But yeah, so she's the master at that. Who could leave your party with an Irish goodbye and it wouldn't affect you? And who could not leave your party with an Irish goodbye?
I would say family, I would expect to be alerted.
Okay.
And like close friends of like where we talk every day, or like that's also kind of my thing too, is like I'm going to go into this party saying like, hey, we're all driving separately. I'll let you know when I'm heading out, but like I'm not going to make a thing of it. Okay. And that's kind of my story, is like I'll tell one of my buddies, I'll tell you, I'll tell somebody that's like, hey, you know, this is my signal. I'll see you later. And we're going to see each other in the next week, whatever, you know.
Because it's not like a forever goodbye.
Yeah, but right? And if it is like somebody's leaving the country or whatever, then obviously I will.
Right.
But I'll go up to them and be like, hey, I gotta go, but please don't make it a thing.
Yeah, that part sucks.
Yeah.
Oh, you're leaving? Hang on.
Yeah.
Give me the mic.
Yeah. Or wait, let me introduce you to somebody or something.
Oh, I hate that too. Mm-hmm. That's got to be my. So I don't have any. I'm not socially awkward or anything like that. But there are some situations that I really dread.
Yeah.
And being introduced to like somebody.
Because you should have something in common with them. Or...
Yeah, because the person that's introducing me think I should really get along with this person.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's like a play date.
Yeah.
It's like getting this set up on a grown play date. That bothers me. Mm-hmm. And to take it to another level is they leave. Just leave you
buffer.
there.
Yeah, you're there's no buffer, and you're stuck dealing with this person
that you don't know from anything.
About, and they're also just as awkward.
Right.
You could be the best of friends, but like there's no like the groundwork is not there. The
meet and greet was horrible.
Yeah, forced.
Right. And it
foisted.
It was foisted. Don't introduce me to somebody and then leave. Or just introduce me to somebody and set it up like you guys will love each other.
Yeah.
That's something that's sort of like the person that would give you the worst taste in liquor just to taste would do. And then you would sort of laugh about it later on. It's almost like a good friend.
Right. It's either a good friend or a real jerk.
Would it be like a real jerk because they didn't know, or a real jerk because they was like,
they're so
hey, there's a guy I'm going to pawn this guy off on.
Yeah, like they're so like either aloof, they don't care about anybody else.
That's a whole different person at that point.
That is,
you know what I'm saying? If you just,
society,
you diabolical at that point.
Yeah.
If you could just like go up to, is it your buddy? It's got to be just a fringe.
Either a fringe acquaintance. Yeah,
it's a fringe acquaintance.
Because if you do it to a friend, like
now it's just a joke.
It's a joke. It's the intent of why are you doing it?
Right. The motive sets the tone of what happened. What just happened.
Are
you
putting it off on a friend or an enemy? So that's when bringing it back to the classroom. If you're in a thing, you put it on the one that annoys you in the class, and you're like, all right, I'll see you later. Meet this new guy that is going to talk. You just spent this class time ruining my day. I'm going to ruin your day.
So does that make me a jerk, or does that make me like?
No, it's a jerk, but
I have sound reason to be.
Yeah, there's nothing right about it, but it just is a little more understandable. I have a
good reason to be this guy right now.
It's a villain's backstory.
Hey, you come here. The one that got the last donut out of that box.
Yeah.
Hey, you would love this guy right here. And then you set him up with the worst story he ever had.
Yeah.
Hey, you would really like this story about this positive pressure fan from this guy.
Yeah.
Hey, share.
And just walk away.
Just walk away. Mm-hmm. So we used to have this guy at the firehouse that would talk. Mm-hmm. He was a Vietnam vet, and he, if I remember correctly, he was on an ambush team, right? He would tell some crazy stories too. The thing about it is he never stopped talking. Like literally, he was having a conversation with a guy in the firehouse. The guy got up, went into another room, was there to watch at least an episode or something. Came back and the guy was still talking. That's not a lie. This is not like an exaggeration or anything. And you will walk into the room sometimes where he's already mid-conversation. And he would like turn it towards you. So the goal was not to be the last guy in the room.
Okay, yeah.
So we would all sit down for chow and start eating or whatever. He would start his story. He would start talking. It would always move into him telling a story. So now it's like guys are, eat faster than you. I'm out. And then it's like it's you and the other one dude, and you trying to finish this up because you don't want to be the last guy in there. And that reminds me of like introducing somebody to that guy that nobody wants to talk to, and then just walking away. Yeah, let's get into the next one. I'm David.
And I'm Vinny.
Stick around. We're going to talk about things that we're looking forward to in the future.
In a perfect world, what are we looking forward to?
In a perfect world. I know people are like, oh, that'll never happen. But since this is our podcast, we can talk about whatever we want. And now we're talking about things to look forward to. Looking forward, right?
Looking forward. This is going to be a recurring theme. And mind you, now that we're kind of in the last segment of this episode, this is our second episode. But first one where we kind of got things a little bit figured out.
It's a little cleaner.
We appreciate
everybody.
Whoever's watching, whoever's listening. This podcast we're just a couple of real good buddies just chatting. There's no purpose, no end point, no whatever.
We are the Seinfeld of podcasts right now.
Yeah, we are the Seinfeld of podcasts.
You just tune in, you can hear some good stories, you may get an understanding of a good bourbon, and you understand some music. Right? And we have a segment of looking forward. This is one of the things that we're going to do on a reoccurring time on our podcast just to make sure that we're staying focused on the future, right? So in a perfect world, this world is perfect, Vinny. I'm talking about you are a perfect person. The weather is perfect. The animals are perfect. The life that you are living is completely perfect. No working, no bills. Whatever you grow, you eat. What is one thing you are looking forward to in that kind of a world?
The idea that I will be at peak body performance, like being able to not hurt. I'm moving. Everything is working at peak performance, functioning properly how it should. There's nothing holding me back. There's no knee pain, back pain. I'm just kind of going each
every
day.
Yeah. Just get up and you're living that best.
And if I'm perfect,
physical life.
Yeah, exactly. If I'm perfect. Like the thing that's holding me back.
What's your limitations?
What's my limitations? Whereas when I'm perfect, what can I do that will be like superhuman in a way? So
that that is a good one. And mine is mentally, right? What is my limitations as a perfect individual, right? How far am I from that right now? I literally can say right now, some of the reasonings that I have on things, I think are 100% right. I think that the way that I work this thing out is the best way possible for it to go. How far is that from an actual perfect mind being used, right? I think there was this one movie. It was called, Phenomenon.
Oh, yeah, John Travolta.
Yeah. Okay, remember, did you watch that movie?
Yeah, where he was like having sunglasses levitate off the table and stuff.
Because his mind was moving in such a perfect state.
Is that what I don't remember like the idea of the movie. Like how was that possible?
He had a tumor on his brain.
Okay.
He had a tumor on his brain which opened up the rest of his brain, right?
Okay.
So the theory is you only work with 10% of your brain. because of this tumor, and of course it's a movie, it's not like real life, but because of this tumor, the rest of his brain became active because of whatever pressures, whatever blood flow, whatever. I'm not trying to determine why the movie was what it was. The movie said that because of this tumor on his brain, he's using 100% of his brain. Now that went into sound waves, radio waves. His brain was on the wave, so he was able to move small objects with just getting on the same frequency with his mind. However, there was one part in that movie where they were trying to test him to see, okay, what's going on? And they asked him, hey, if you were born in 1973, how old would you be? He couldn't answer that question because his mind was so perfect that he was like, well, what time was he born? Where was he born? What month was he born? And the guy got frustrated, the guy asking the questions, because the curator was just trying to get an answer. And then he broke down how his mind works. He was like, well, if he was born in October and it's June, he's 6 months younger than what he would be if he was born on the East Coast as opposed to the West Coast, where he would be 3 hours older than what he was, right? So it was just sort of like that mindset is something that I would really look forward to in a perfect world. On
top of that, where everybody else's brain is functioning at the same thing, so we're not having those confusing things where it's like what you're saying doesn't make sense and what I'm saying doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
Where we can all communicate at a higher level.
Yeah, which will be amazing to me as far as men and women communication at that point, right? I think everybody knows that men and women communicate on a different wavelength.
Much different.
Much, much different. They're from Venus.
We're from Mars.
Which mindset will we lean more towards, right? Women are more of a emotional planner.
Yeah.
Right? Where I'm more of a doer. A logical doer.
Emotional planners and logical doers.
We just wrote another book. Emotional planners, don't steal our ideas. Emotional planners and logical doers. Me and my wife was going over an article this morning, and it was talking about communication, right? It said, listen, if you're not conveying your thoughts, your feelings, and your desires, you're not communicating, you're talking. That blew my mind. The author in the book was from somewhere where we consider that authority in our lives, right? So we took it to be accurate.
Yeah.
But it was funny because when I read that, it blew my world up. It blew my world out of the water for the simple fact that my whole life I was around talkers, right? I worked for the jail. I was raised by a military dad. Did my little bit in there. Then I worked for Fire, which is a paramilitary company. Nobody ever communicated to me. I was told. I was talked to. Howard, do this. Howard, do that. Howard, do this. Howard, do that. And there was never a question of why or the feelings that was behind it or the desire that was behind it. I was talked to. And my whole life was that way. So that's how I talked. And I can't even say communicated now, but now I have like children, and that's what I did with them. I talked to them. Hey, do this. And the article also brought up as kids get older, they need more than just that, right? So I got off the subject a little bit, but all of that goes back to a perfect mind, right? So now it's perfect. Now I know all of this. I'm using all 20,000 neutrons in my brain now, whatever. And now I have this perfect mind.
Yeah.
Is it closer to a communicator, a talker, a female, a male, a scientist, a doctor, a therapist?
Yeah, and that's a good point, too, because now it's like there's all the different personality types. Is that because of our imperfection, or is that, like, will that continue to be Or when we are perfect.
Because I don't think in a perfect world we're all robots either.
Right.
We're still going to have
We're just gonna be
separations of what we are.
Yeah, perfect
right?
versions of what we are. So
That's
it's
another thing that's like weird.
Yeah.
A perfect version of what we are.
Yeah, which of the things is imperfect? Which of those little annoying things is imperfect, and which one's just am I going to have to deal with for the rest of eternity?
Right. Yeah. Which one of those things that I do are perfect? Which one of them are not perfect?
I'll leave you to think about that.
Yeah. What's your answers? Put it in the comments. Looking towards the future. All right, that is Bad Batch Bourbon Bros. I hope you enjoyed your time with us.
I'm Vinny.
I'm David.
We'll see you
Thanks
later.
for watching.